Okay, we're up here in Springfield community. I got my cousin here, Dr. Dale Cox. He's a local historian here. He's written several books. How many books have you written, Doc?
19.
19 books.
19.
19 books on this historic area here that we grew up in. Tell us a little something about. I know there's the church is located up here on Union Road. Tell us about Union Road. How did it get its name?
Well, Union Road, the name came because that's the road that the Union soldiers took on their way to Mariana for the Battle of Mariana back during the Civil War. And it is a really unique stretch that still exists today because in many ways it's very similar to what it would have looked like 150, 160 years ago in places. And as they went along that road, they helped all of the enslaved people self-liberate who lived along that road. And so by the time they got to Mariana and fought the battle there, 600 people had been set free.
Wow.
And so that road is a major landmark for that reason. And in fact, we're working to have it added to the National Underground Railroad Trail. And another section of that same Union Road has already been added. And so the goal is to have Union Road added as well so that people will be able to come here and learn part of that history, that this road is a place of freedom. This is a place where people, when they had the opportunity to, and the soldiers did not free anyone. The soldiers said, if you want to be free, follow us. And so everyone who walked away that day freed themselves. And it was 600 people.
Wow.
By the time it was all said and done. Just a remarkable place.
Wow, that's amazing. That is an amazing story. We grew up here and we didn't know that story until we got together and started talking about it. You're telling me another story that one of significance for the entire state of entire United States of America that happened during the compromise of
1876.
76.
Yeah.
And how did that compromise come about?
Well, what happened was they had the election of 1876, and the Democrat won. Now, there had not been a Democrat elected president since before the Civil War, and in this election, the Democrat won. It was his entire election was based on one precinct, which was the Campbellton precinct, which this area would have been part of at that time. And so the state of Florida was controlled by Republicans at that time. The Republicans threw out the results of the Campbellton precinct. They said there is no way that the African American people voted for a Democrat because Democrats had been the party of the Confederacy at that time. But what was happening here was the beginning of the change of the parties was taking place. And so when the state canvassing board threw out the Campbellton precinct, they literally threw out legitimate votes because Congress later came. They held a meeting in Mariana, a hearing in Mariana, and they brought in voters from this precinct to testify. And the voters all said, yeah, I voted Democrat, regardless of their race. They had. And but by then, the President Hayes had been president for 2 years by then. By the time, and so Congress determines that the Campbellton precinct was unlawfully rejected, that the vote had been suppressed, and that the other guy had actually won the election. So they went to him, and he was governor of New York, I believe, and they asked him, what do you want us to do? And he said, it would be a horrible thing for the country if we removed a president and put a different person in. He said our country would fight over the elections, until the end of time.
Wow.
And he said, that's not what I want. And so don't do it. Let him finish out his term. And that's what happened. And it turned out that President Hayes won the election, but the other guy, Samuel Tilden, had actually won the election, and it all hinged on this precinct right here.
On this precinct right here. Now, part of that compromise, correct me if I'm wrong, was to remove the Union soldiers from this area.
That's correct.
So that had a great, my goodness.
Yeah. What it was, they had to agree to end the Reconstruction government and return everything back to local rule. And that was the beginning of the Jim Crow era right there. And so when they reached that compromise, it ended the Union occupation of Florida. Some of the other states had already, come back, but it ended the troops to protect people in the South.
Right.
It really was the end of any people of color voting. My ancestors, Native American, they were not allowed to vote until 1865. African Americans not allowed to vote. Hispanics not allowed to vote. And then that guaranteed it wasn't going to happen anymore from 1876 all the way until the Civil Rights Act, in the 20th century.
Wow. And all that history
Yeah.
took place right here.
Yeah, it literally hinged
Jackson County, Florida.
right on this area. In fact, Union Road is part of the Marietta to Campbellton Road. And that's during the Reconstruction era. There was a lot of violence here, and a lot of that violence took place along the Marietta to Campbellton Road.
Wow.
And there are all kinds of stories of skirmishes and battles between the two sides out here, during the Reconstruction era. Union troops used that road to patrol back and forth to Campbellton. During that time period, all of that happened, right here. So yeah, it definitely has a national, even international significance to history.
Oh, wonderful. Well, he's my cousin, y'all. Really is. Really, truly.
That is true.
All that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put a link to all of his books. You can get them on Amazon. Great historian, great read. And
Thank you.
Thanks so much, cousin Dale. We appreciate you.
Absolutely, I appreciate
All right,
it
man.
very
Be
much.
blessed with the Lord now.
You
Take care.